this sandwich. It's a complete game changer. Hello, this is Mike, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club is that juicy chicken with that toasty pretzel bun. From the first bite to the last bite, that bun, it's crispy, cozy, just amazing. With the pretzel bun, the Dijon mustard, and the chicken, you have those three things together, and it makes that sweet, savory kind of combination. It's everything that you love about food rolled into one. It looks phenomenal. It tastes great. It's delicious.
Real guests paid for their testimonial.
From Garden City High School, it is a battle from last year's championship game as Garden City, the defending state champions, taking on their longtime foe, the other GC, Glen Cove, here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Today's Nassau AA2 Showdown, sponsored by Lifestyle Sports, the Glen Cove Soccer Booster Club, as well as Chick-fil-A right there in Westbury Eisenhower Park. Well, a pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Dylan Butler alongside Brian Sergi, the assistant coach of Oceanside. And Brian, you know all about October soccer and the importance of games in the month of October as teams get closer to the postseason. It's about seeding. It's about getting yourself prepared to play on the next level. And these two teams are well-versed in just that. So many incredible matchups, so many championship important playoff type matchups for these two teams. This is round two. Round one went to Garden City. Round two, the Trojans, again, the favorites, but who knows? We could have a third round as well.
Yeah, Glen Cove, isn't having the best season record-wise, but they've been competitive in every game, including the first matchup with these guys. And, Garden City sets the standard for high school soccer. So they're going to want to set the tone tonight, send the message. They know they're going to see these guys again.
Yeah, and for Glen Cove, as we take a look at the kind of collision course that these two schools have been on, there you see it. 3 finals in the last 4 years, right? And the other match, that was only a semifinal, right? So that includes last year's final, won, of course, by Garden City 2-0. But Glen Cove, they're an interesting team, Brian, because they're a side that, they almost treat the regular season like it's glorified scrimmages, right? Like, they don't care about their regular season record. It's about getting their shape right. It's about getting their tactics right. They'll go into the postseason often as a 13 seed or a 12 seed. And lo and behold, of course, the Big Red end up being one of the top 2 or 4 standing. So it's just kind of what we're used to seeing, right, out of this Glen Cove team. They're a team, too, this year, right? They don't have that star power, right? Henry Hernandez was such a pivotal player for them a year ago. Graduated as an All-American. They had back-to-back years of All-American strikers. Hernandez no longer there, but it's a team that, and look, you've been part of these journeys. They're just trying to find their way right now, right? You look at their record, 4-3-5 overall, 3-3-4 in the conference, 23 goals scored, 16 against. It's all about finding that right, the pieces of the puzzle and getting it right. And again, there doesn't seem to be a lot of pressure on the regular season because it's all about the postseason with Glen Cove. Brian, we'll take a look at the impact players for the Big Red. And you see on the left, Miguel Rivera, he is a returning forward on this team, and Eli Jorge really anchors things down as that number 6 in the midfield.
Yeah, Miguel Rivera, he's one of the most consistent goal scorers for this team. He's big, he's fast, he's skilled, very technical. He could be a problem for any team he faces, and let's see if he's a problem tonight. We also got Eli Jorge. He's been, one of their strongest, most physical players all season. They're going to need that tonight.
Yeah, especially against the Garden City team that loves to operate in the midfield and has such terrific technical players. When we last saw the Trojans on the varsity media airwaves, they were beating Glen Cove to win the Nassau County Championship. Then they went on and won the Long Island Championship, and they went on and won the state title. It was an unbelievable season, a storybook season, right? Undefeated. And the question coming into this year was, well, how do you stay hungry off of that? Well, they answered the bell in a big way because they have a lot of players who are looking to place their stamp, right? The seniors did that last year. Now it's about those guys who are filling in to maybe elevated roles. And look, the truck keeps rolling right down the road here in Garden City. 11-1 on the season. They've expanded their non-conference schedule to make it more of a regional schedule. So they've played out at St. Peter's in New Jersey. They are going to play the number 1 team in the country in St. Benedict's in New Jersey. They played St. Anthony's on the road. They won all those games. Their only loss to Shoreham Wading River, 1-0 on a PK. But make no mistake, you said it, standard bearers these Trojans are. We take a look now at their players to watch. And these are 2 guys who are well-versed in playing some of the biggest games for Garden City. 2 guys who are returning starters as well, Brian.
Yeah, Jack Klein, the captain. He played right wing last year. Moved him over to the left wing this year. He's a right-footed player, so he's playing on the opposite side. Likes to use that, right foot to cut in from the left side. And some of the stuff he does individually is phenomenal. You also got Thomas Fargione, another captain, 2-time starter. Incredible run where they, allowed just 1 goal in 7 playoff games. He shut down guys like Henry Hernandez, who you spoke about. And let's see if he can do it tonight against Miguel Rivera. Yeah,
that's crazy to think, right? They conceded 1 goal, which happened like in the last 10 minutes of the state final. Outrageous defending there from last year's Garden City side. Let's meet, Brian, the starters for today's game. And we start with the visitors in Glen Cove. Both teams kind of playing the same formation. It's essentially a 4-3-3. You see the starters for Glen Cove. From left to right in the back, it's Gonzalez. We thought we would see Cameron Allen. He's a late scratch. So Josue Amaya steps into his spot. Wilson Padilla next to him at right back. Olvin Maldonado. We mentioned Eli Jorge at the number 6. Brian Guerra. He might be one of the best left backs in the county, but because of his skill set playing out at center mid to get more touches on the ball, Costa Circus is your number 10. From left to right up front, Hector Santiago. On the right side, Danilo Gonzalez. Up front, Miguel Rivera. And in goal for the Big Red, it is David Bernal, the junior. We might see Brian Gutierrez. They have different skill sets, the 2, but today it'll be David Bernal in goal for Glen Cove. You see his numbers on the season, 40 saves, 1 clean sheet, really good at covering crosses, high shots that are going to the upper 90. That's what he excels at. The head coach of Glen Cove in his 14th season at the helm, it is Brian Smith, 1996 graduate of Plainview. So those are your starters for Glen Cove. Let's meet the starters for Garden City now. From left to right, also a 4-3-3 formation, at least in attack. Will Egan is your left back. Fargione and Charlie Costa, that's your returning center back tandem as well. Your right back is Jacob Cooper. In the midfield, your number 6 is Tommy Schreier. He played a little bit further up the field. Dylan Fisher started at right back last year. Now he's at the number 8 position. Cole Watson, whose brother Miles was a star striker last year, he's at the number 10 position. From left to right, you have 3 Jacks. It's good to have 3 Jacks if you're playing cards. You've got Jack Klein, Jack Costa, Jack Shore as well. Up front, in goal, it is Michael Karcher. He's a senior who was waiting in the wings. He had to wait behind a really good goalkeeper in Ian Pupke. There has been a terrific lineage of goalies at Garden City. Karcher is the latest. You see his numbers on the year, 6 clean sheets, 31 saves, 11 games played. That is Michael Karcher's numbers. The head coach of Garden City, 15th season, Paul Cutter, a guy who back in his day played at Leeds University. big Newcastle fan, which I appreciate. I'm a Newcastle fan as well. So that is Paul Cutter. Those are your starters. We take a look at the keys now as we're just about set for the start of this one. So we'll kind of rip through this quickly, Brian. But these are what the two head coaches identified as keys to this game.
Yeah, Glen Cove needs to match their pace of play. They're going to want to possess with some purpose, keep the ball on the ground, move it quick. And, they're going to have to match the intensity and the physicality. Garden City, get out to a fast start. Set the tone, play smart, limit the mistakes.
There we go. Ready to start here as a little bit of a delayed start to this one. It's the second matchup of the season between these two. They played back at Glen Cove. It was one where Garden City did just what they wanted to do here today, right? They got out to a quick start, Brian. They led 2-0. And one of those keys that we showed you quickly was defensive concentration. And that lapsed a little bit for the Trojans, who conceded 2 goals in a matter of moments. So suddenly it's a 2-0 lead that's now 2-2 at halftime. The Trojans, though, capitalized on a Glen Cove defensive mistake. They hit a ton of posts. They ended up pulling away in that one 4-2. So you see Garden City possessing from the start. Is a giveaway, and you can see how quickly right away, Brian, that Glen Cove, they want to get those numbers, push it up, and put pressure on the Garden City in the Garden City defensive third.
Yeah, we do have a nice breeze here. It looks like Glen Cove has the wind at their back. It's going to be interesting to see how they might want to press a little bit early on. And
you can see the weather right there in the top left, 73 degrees. The flags opposite us are blowing pretty briskly, as you see some of the numbers here, precipitation, the visibility. But no, you're right. And one thing to note, and we'll see if it becomes a factor because of a late start. I think we said that sunset around here is just before 6:30. So that's a slight concern here. Maybe halftime might be halved, maybe, or even less than that. Of course, you want to get the game in. No lights here at Garden City High School. That ball went out of bounds. It'll be a throw for Glen Cove. Battle in the midfield. That's won by Fisher. And one of the things that impresses you so much, you're getting a quick glimpse, Brian, of these Trojans, but they're all so technical. They all play to feet. They all look for the next man. It's a very, the formula for success, you can see it. The blueprint is there.
Yeah, they play with such confidence, composure. They all really have a clear understanding of what each other want to do out there, and that's what really makes the difference.
That was Jack Costa playing it right by the Garden City bench. Gets the ball right back. Sends a cross into the 18. It was interesting there where the way that it was played, there's a challenge in the box, and we will have a PK right away. We'll show the replay, Brian, but there was zero hesitation in that call, and also no argument either for Glen Cove.
Yeah, he's able to turn him. Yeah, it's a clear penalty.
So right away, a chance for Garden City to take the lead from the penalty spot. Looks like it's Jack Costa, number 10, on the ball. Costa, oh, what a save! Bernal, dive to his right, made the low save. And you can see what it means to him and his teammates. We'll take another look, Brian.
Yeah, left foot, opens up his hips, looks to place it. Great save, fully outstretched. We got a corner kick.
Glen Cove, I think they were limited in the warm-ups. That's a great way to start if you are the big red. And David Bernal, that corner only went to the near post. It's played back, though. '11 was Jack Klein. But this game is about emotion, right? So much, and momentum. That's got to mean so much to Bernal, right? As the goalkeeper against the vaunted Garden City attack to make a save like that early on. And there is Fisher in midfield. Son of a coach. His dad, Dan, coaches a lot of club ball here on the island. So you know Dylan has a great understanding of the game, including some great physical attributes as well. This ball played into the box, no issue there for Karcher, who picks it up and just rolls it out to Fargione. See Glen Cove mostly backing up, allowing the center backs to play. And now they'll look to pressure. That was Tommy Schreier who laid it back to Coster. Coster, a Lehigh lacrosse commit. And you can see the plan a little bit there too for Glen Cove, Brian, where Miguel Rivera pushed up ahead. It's play to his feet and then let him combine as the wings and Santiago and Gonzalez race down each sideline. Patience from Garden City. Ball dispossessed. It'll go back to Bernal. That's essentially his second touch of the ball. His first was saving a PK. Launches it downfield to no one in particular, so it'll go to Karcher. And Garden City, again, they will have the lion's share of the ball today. There's no doubt about it. But what can Glen Cove do when they take it away? And as we said, they're a different team a little bit than last year, right? Where you had that magical forward or that magical midfielder in Henry Hernandez who could really unlock a lot of things for you. It's more by committee, really for both teams this year as well. Hernandez, a guy who not playing college soccer, instead, you know, his dream is to play professional soccer, went to Argentina, looking to try to latch on to River Plate, which, if you know your world soccer, one of the most known teams in the world, along with Boca Juniors, two of the most renowned teams in Argentina, which certainly speaks to, one, his desire level, two, perhaps his connections, and three, you know, his technical ability, that he's able to be there for at least this year.
Yeah, I didn't get to see too much of Henry, but he was, you know, known throughout the soccer world as being a very special player, and, you know, I hope it really works out for him down there. It's a great experience. This
is Jacob Cooper, one of the 4 captains for the Trojans. The ball flicked on into the box. Fisher got his head on it. Cooper steps to keep possession. There's Fisher. Tight spaces, doesn't matter. 1v4, eludes that. But now you get it out to Rivera. Good step by Fargione, but Rivera comes away. And Fargione wins it. That's going to be a fun battle, Brian, I feel like, throughout this game. Fargione against Rivera. And you said it in the open, right? He's up for these kind of challenges.
Yeah, Glen Cove is content to sit, keep their shape, defend. A lot of their clearances will end up going to Rivera, and he's going to have to deal with those one-on-one situations.
Try to get him into space. Good reading of that situation by Karcher. Took a knock there by Rivera. No foul was called. It'll be a throw-in for Glen Cove. That's Renato Gonzalez. Gonzalez and Olvin Maldonado, your 2 fullbacks, they can interchange right and left fullback. Hector Santiago for a moment is trying to dance on the ball. And this is the first bit of possession that we're seeing out of Glen Cove in the Garden City defensive third, and we could see what they can do. GC, though, they are selective when they press, but they are very effective when they do so. See the quick touches and then the interception, and then the turn and kind of running out of room there was Jack Klein.
Yeah, it's good spells like that of possession that are going to start to give players confidence, and hopefully they can build on that.
Here's Fisher. Comfortable playing back to goal, which is what Garden City will do. Back to Karcher. And again, it's not the easiest to get on the field as a goalkeeper for Garden City, so he had to sit behind a guy in Ian Pupke who was a starter for a couple of years. Good ball down this left sideline, recovered by the flag by Klein. And we'll have a deep throw here for Garden City, a substitution for the Trojans. It's like Oliver Williams has checked on. Nice throw, and that's another specialty of Garden City. It's on the set pieces, the long throws, the corners, the free kicks. They are an especially dangerous team. Schreier. Nice touch here to Cooper. You see Cooper switching sides as well, right? Goes from right back to the left back. Fisher dispossessed in the midfield, and now Glen Cove looking to push numbers. And Brian, I'd imagine, you know, you've coached in different situations where your team has had more of the ball or the opposition, but when the opposition does, to have that mindset defensively of keeping your shape is so critical, right?
Yeah, it comes to the guys in the back. They're the ones that keep everybody in front of them organized. They talk to them to shift. They want to close the passing lanes. They want to prevent Garden City from breaking those lines and able to come at them.
No issue there for Karcher. Cutter likes what he's seen out of Karcher, the senior, as a 12th game of the year. Good footwork, good shot stopper, good communicator. So in that sense, checks all the boxes that you want, right, out of a high school goalkeeper.
Yeah, a team like this, you really got to have someone that's great with their feet, confident, gives the other team, you know, the rest of their team confidence to play it back to them and make good decisions back there.
And that's what they did right there as Coster goes back to Karcher, opening up as Fargione. And here comes Coster, driven ball upfield. Now a foot race for it. And a foul was called, a little bit of a shoulder barge against Oliver Williams.
Yeah, you see the wind playing a factor. You know, Garden City keeps it in their end, and then they look to play those direct balls over the top, and the wind's holding it up, and it provides sometimes an awkward situation for both players.
Rivera, first time testing Karcher. No problem for the I can't say GC, for the Garden City goalkeeper who makes the save. So you'd think that's an adjustment too, right? That should be probably made. Maybe try to keep balls out of the air and the unpredictable nature of them. Maybe play to feet a little bit more. Here comes Fisher out of that pack. Taken away by Gonzalez momentarily. Here's Danilo Gonzalez. Now it's Rivera. Tried to get a cross in, took a deflection off of, I believe it was Cooper. And you could hear the communication there by Karcher calling for the ball, sending it up to field, trying to switch fields. Off the heel of Williams. And here comes the center forward, barging forward. Williams in the box. Williams! Great save. And the rebound sent over. Bernal, Brian, is on his game early.
Yeah, 17, he's a handful up there. You know, he's using his physicality, he's using his size, and puts a good shot on goal, but good save.
So good stuff from David Bernal. His 9th game of the season. Really athletic saves. We've seen 2 of them so far, right? One on the PK there on that opportunity by Oliver Williams. Bargione, good footwork from the center back. Now Garden City down that right side. Clipped forward, looking for Williams. And again, barges forward. Williams on the ground. Williams, nice slide tackle, so it'll be another Garden City corner. A couple of subs before this corner is taken. But you could see right away why Williams is a guy who has 8 goals on the year. Scored a terrific goal in the first half against St. Anthony's, which was part of a 2-0 road win. Good service back post. Williams is there, but so is Bernal. In our conversation with Paul Cutter, the Garden City coach, said Oliver Williams is that little bit of an old school center forward, right? That like English number 9. And I was waiting for him to make the reference because it's my all-time favorite player. But he said kind of like Alan Shearer was. And of course, you know, again, we're both Newcastle fans. I knew he was going to go there. But he is. He's that big presence, right? You could certainly win balls in the air, but also good with his feet.
Yeah, he's got his eyes. He's looking to distribute at times too.
Foul called in the midfield, so it'll be a free kick for Garden City.
So normally with the wind at your back here, this may be an opportunity on goal, but gonna say he's gonna serve this ball into the box here.
Yeah, Jack Klein looks like he's gonna leave it. And instead it'll be Charlie Coster. 2-man wall set up, clip towards the far post. Bernal was there, and that's one of his specialties, reading those crosses. Slings it out to midfield now. Maybe a chance to counter here for the Big Red. Costa Circus's pass, though, was a little bit off the mark. And Garden City's ball again. Gonzalez intercepted. Jack Klein looked to possess. It is a crowded midfield right now. Bargione stepped. Ball headed back out to midfield, and now maybe playing a 1-2. Here comes Williams. Tried to get it to that far side, still has it as it pinballs around. Trying to win the throw-in was Costa. Instead it goes to Garden City. No score here. As we're approaching, or rapidly approaching, 15 minutes remaining in this first half. Garden City's had more of the ball, better of the chances, including a PK in the early stages. But Glen Cove goalkeeper David Bernal has been outstanding to this point. Here comes Williams in the box. Williams never was able to get that foot to take the shot.
Yeah, even with Garden City having most of the possession, I like to see Glen Cove still trying to play when they get it. You know?
Here's that matchup, Rivera and Fargione. Fargione brings the physicality. Rivera tries to take him to the corner flag. Advantage Fargione. You mentioned it in the open. He's up for these challenges. We'll get to that in a second, as now Williams taking on a pair of defenders. Oliver Williams still on it. Williams comes away. The cross in front, knocked away, but not out. He's got a little bit of a Christian Benteke in him as well, right? Just that big, thick center forward who's hard to take the ball off of.
Yeah, he's drawing a lot of attention over there. You know, Garden City is going to need to get a second player into that box and look for that assist.
Here's Renato Gonzalez, fast, confident, crafty, physical player. You love that Gonzalez is back onto the field. He's a guy who tore his ACL at the end of his freshman year, and because of the recovery time, and there's a long road back, didn't make last year's team, Gonzalez, but still battled back, continued, no foul called there, and he's earned a starting spot here on the Glen Cove back line. Here's Will Egan, takes a touch. A guy that maybe wasn't necessarily expected to start, but he has worked his tail off, and there he is winning that ball back.
Yeah, he lost it. Sign of a good player, get it back.
Shot from distance, bounced into Karcher. No problem for the senior goalkeeper. Well, there's a bit of a mistake. Let's see if Glen Cove can capitalize. That's Hector Santiago. Plays it to Circus. They'll play a 1-2. If they can switch it, yeah, there it is. There's an open player in Danilo Gonzalez. But you could see right there, Brian, why their head coach, Brian Smith, says pace of play. We need to play it quicker. We need to think quicker. Because some of the decisions are there, but the actions are a little bit too slow, especially against a team that plays with such pace as Garden City does.
Yeah, their athleticism is a handful. So the quicker you can move the ball, you'll have an advantage, but it's got to be sharp. It's got to be quick.
Circus plays it back to Wilson Padilla. Steps up from his center back position. Padilla lays it off to Gonzalez. Such a creative player, Danilo is. Nice overlapping run, cross inside the box, knocked away. Shouts from the Glen Cove sideline of a handball, none given. And there is Karcher coming away with the ball.
Yeah, it's some really good wing play out here. A little overlap. Coach spoke about overlaps, and they isolated the 2v1, made a great decision to put the ball in the dangerous area.
Our officials for today's game, Eric Davis, Stephen Denisi. Two-man crew in the regular season. I always laugh because you go from like a two-man crew in the regular season, then it's three, you go to Farmingdale, you've got four, you've even got a fifth guy. They all want to hang out. They want to be part of the action. Foul called against Garden City right at midfield.
Yeah, I'm familiar with both these officials. They're both...
You gotta say nice things. We're saying nice things, right?
Okay, I was gonna. Yeah. These guys know what they're doing out there. This game's in good hands.
Here's Padilla. Clips a ball centrally, trying to locate Circus. Now we're seeing a little bit more possession out of Glen Cove, but as soon as I say that, the ball is taken away. Look out, 50-50 challenge. Good slide tackle. Good read there, right, by Padilla. Crafty junior center back. The ball goes back to Karcher.
Yeah, those are the type of tackles you need. Sets the tone. Lets Garden City know we're here to play.
Like Glen Cove head coach Brian Smith said of Padilla, he sees the game at a very mature level. In Garden City with like a line change, 3 on, 3 off. Brian Smith, though, also not afraid to use his depth, and what he does like on this team is he's got 3 really talented freshmen who see a lot of time on the field. He says the incoming class is very, very talented as well. But he's not punting, certainly on this year. As again, Glen Cove does what Glen Cove seemingly always does, is they let the regular season kind of play out however it does. They make sure they get into the playoffs. They don't care what seed they are. And then ultimately they end up facing these guys somewhere in the Final Four. Good ball movement for Garden City. Left shot, takes deflection off the post. Bernal is there to recover. And that's how close Garden City was as Williams, another terrific opportunity.
I actually think he got nicked up there. He might need to come out. He's calling for a sub.
Yeah, the ball took a deflection. Williams, as we take another look, Brian, looks like a little bit of an awkward step, right?
Yeah, I like how he went to his left there. You know, that's where the space was, created a moment of separation.
And I think if on that one, I think it was with his right? I think he managed to turn an ankle there.
Yeah.
Let's see it again. Watch the step with his right. Like right, was it there? Hard to tell, but you see the ball takes deflection off the defender. Great job by Bernal to get to it before Jack Shore did. So we certainly hope that Williams, who's being treated just behind the Glen Cove net, is okay.
Looks like they might be stretching his calf.
All right, so maybe just a Fargione called for being over the back. And it's one of those opportunities, right, Brian, where you could push your numbers up if you are Glen Cove.
Yeah, I think 9 minutes left. You have the wind. You want to try to get some shots on target here.
Driven ball. That's going to goal, and it goes through the football uprights. Had that beaten Karcher, would have been one of the goals of the season.
A 50-yard shot on target wasn't necessarily what I was talking about, but we'll take it, right? You know, sometimes, 20 yards here, you're putting a ball in the box. 50 yards here, you're putting it on frame. So,
from a center back, no less. Love it. And now some pressure from Glen Cove. Here's Fisher in the midfield. Plays it back for Coster.
Williams looks like he's up. He's walking back toward the bench. A little gingerly.
Nice switch, but unable to keep the ball in on this near side. That's Cole Watson. Watson last year was a sub, an attacking sub. This year, he's got the keys to the car as the number 10. Substitution for Glen Cove. Looks like Luis Gomez checking in. Another throw in for Renato Gonzalez. He will leave it for Padilla. Sends it towards the corner flag. Battle there, and it will go out for a goal kick. We'll take a look at the standings here in Nassau AA2. And you could see the asterisk right next to Garden City and Mepham having already clinched their spots in the postseason. Glen Cove right behind them. But this is a very stacked division. You can see Roosevelt really good. See Great Neck North as well. So any of those teams could be a handful in the postseason. Good look there of Jacob Cooper. One of those who didn't start last year, but again, worked hard to get into the starting 11 this year. As you can see, not an easy starting 11 to crack. And a lot of competitions for places, which of course makes every practice, right? Every training session that much more crisp.
Yeah, meaningful practices can change an entire culture, you know.
Here is Cooper. Ball sent back out to him. He'll drive it towards the 18. Good ball as well, and good decision to come off his line by Bernal.
Yeah, Bernal's really doing a good job of commanding the box.
There's no such thing as a man of the half. It's a man of the match, but at this point, you'd have to say he's the man of the first half, especially by making that PK save. Good decisions around his 18. Another good save as well on the deflected shot. He's been very good. Inside the final 5 minutes of a scoreless first half here at Garden City. Dylan Butler, Brian Sergi, our entire varsity media crew here for this battle of the GCs. Round one went to the visitors, Garden City, as they went to Glen Cove, pulled out a 4-2 victory last month. Glen Cove would love to return that favor here. If there is a round three, that would be one of those elimination games that they always seem to face off against, as some numbers for Garden City now. Colin Gibbons, 5. That's one of the changes that we saw there from Garden City. A guy who could play the 6, the 8, the 10. As Fisher looks to win the ball back. Fisher also versatile in the midfield. If Garden City's looking to hold on to a win, he'll now slide back, play as a 6. If they're looking for a late goal, can move up as a 10.
Yeah, I noticed he started the game as more of a 6 or 8. Took him off, he came back on. They might have made an adjustment. He's trying to get a little higher up the field maybe. So he reads the game well.
Also read the wind well. That was a great chip. Back post, a little bit too much on that service. Nobody there. We'll serve back in. Bernal has had to go post to post. But there wasn't a Garden City player at either post. Still the Trojans possess. Good touch, switch in the box, and there's the goal. A beautiful ball played in. And you gotta say, right, it was coming. And the good finish as well. And it is 1-0 for Garden City.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have one clearance, you have two clearances, ball gets swung around, it's played back in, they lose their marks a little bit. He finds space at the top of the 6 and slots it.
Goal scored by number 15, Gianluca Damiano. And Damiano scored a hat trick last game against Sewanaka. Wasn't sure if we would see him, but again, you utilize your bench as best you can. Nice touch in the box, turn, fire, what a goal! How about it, Dylan Fisher? You want to talk about a piece of skill, Brian. Look at this.
What a touch off the throw-in. Class.
And that's what Garden City does, right? They poke and they prod. And then when they get the first goal, the second often comes right away as Dylan Fisher buries that goal, his second of the year. And all of a sudden, it's a 2-0 lead for Garden City.
You know, all those throw-ins, they've been trying to do the long throw, and he's that target. He looks to flick it on. They finally threw it to his feet. That's where the magic happens.
You know, Dad Dan, if he's not here, maybe he's watching on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Certainly proud of that goal.
I know, Fisher, we used to have club battles against each other, Oceanside versus Garden City. So it's been giving us fits for years.
Fisher tried to play provider there, wins the corner. That's exactly what Cutter said, right? Finish our opportunities. We know we're going to create them. Can we finish them? As it's Jack Shore now at the corner flag. So you approach 90 seconds and the wind blows it off of the corner flag. It's not American football. You can't have someone hold that ball down, so. Shore drives it. Well-driven ball headed wide by Fargione. Well, this is exactly the scoreline in the first meeting. But the Garden City goals came a little bit earlier. Glen Cove responded late and went into half tied at 2. Final minute now of the first half. We will see how much time is put up for the second half. Unclear if it'll be a limited halftime or not. As there is Fisher. You can see the confidence right now, right, from Garden City. Everybody's getting a touch. As they would love to get maybe one more goal here inside the final 30 seconds. Fargione plays the feet. Ball to Watson. There's your first goal scorer, Damiano. Ball headed clear, final 14 seconds. Fisher has a go from distance, a low shot, saved by Bernal. Bernal will send this one, a driven ball to midfield. And that will do it for the first half. A first half that Garden City will certainly enjoy. They had more of the ball, and then finally, the goals came. First, it was Damiano. Look at his turn. Bang, left foot, finish, 1-0 for Garden City. Then off the throw, Dylan Fisher, a little flick, and the finish, back post. The Trojans lead the Big Red 2-0 here. You're watching it all on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This sandwich, it's a complete game changer. Hello, this is Mike, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club is that juicy chicken with that toasty pretzel bun. From the first bite to the last bite, that bun, it's crispy, cozy, just amazing. With the pretzel bun, the Dijon mustard, and the chicken, you have those three things together, and it makes that sweet, savory kind of combination. It's everything that you love about food rolled into one. It looks phenomenal. It tastes great. It's delicious.
Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Hey parents, coaches, and players. Ever wonder what makes Varsity Media stand out as the tri-state leader in sports live streaming and videography?
If you're looking to optimize your sporting event, look no further than Varsity Media's coverage. Since working with them over the course of the past 4 years through the Elite 5 New York City Football Showcase, their coverage has helped take us to the top.
Varsity Media does an unbelievable job in terms of the broadcast, backgrounds on kids, do a great job of exposure from top to bottom. I couldn't really say anything negative. It's been a great couple of years that we've been working together, and it's just fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you, the fact that you guys are here has helped grow it, really. I mean, Varsity Media's been a good partner with us now for the last couple of years. That brings this game to a much broader audience.
The level of detail and that you go to. I mean, obviously the announcers, the camera angles, the slow motions. I mean, you feel like it's being covered by, ESPN.
If you'd like to book with Varsity Media, reach out at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Back at Garden City, we're getting ready for the start of the second half. Want to again thank our sponsors for today's game, Lifestyle Sports, the Glen Cove Booster Club, and Chick-fil-A, Westbury Eisenhower Park. Not a bad place for your post-game meal, right? Right over there. And I don't know what your favorite from Chick-fil-A is, Brian, but they're popping up all around Long Island. We certainly thank them as well for their sponsorship. I go traditional. I'm the old school. I just go regular Chick-fil-A sandwich, waffle fries. Let's go.
I get down with the spicy chicken, I think.
Yeah? Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was too spicy or what's the spice level like?
That's good.
Yeah, a little spicy?
Yeah.
Well, Garden City, they're a spicy team themselves, 11-1 on this season. At one point, I think they got up to 4 in the country. They had that loss to Shoreham-Wading River. And again, on a PK, 1-0, and all of a sudden they're out of the national rankings. It's kind of wild how that happens, but you got St. Benedict's right at the top. Garden City will go on to play in Jersey against St. Benedict's. That game coming up after they meet up with Mepham in 2 days. As Garden City, 2 late goals in the first half. Damiano and Fisher to score them. As you can see, the sun tucked behind the clouds here. And they will certainly endeavor to get this entire 40 minutes in. Good ball, good job hustling to chase it down by the end line. This is not the place you want to be if you are Glen Cove. Fortunate for them. Ball takes a deflection. That was Brian Guerra to knock it off a Garden City player and out. For the Big Red, we mentioned at the start, right? 4-3-5, 3-3-4 in the conference. They're coming off of another one of their draws with Great Neck North, 1-1. It's their second consecutive draw after also tying Roosevelt. Ball played to ground, and that's the one thing that Brian Smith said about his team. It's a young team, kind of retooling a little bit this year. There is some experience, there's inexperience, but they're trying to find that right tactical approach and some consistency in our game plan going from game to game. Karcher, make sure that he grabs it.
Yeah, it's not an easy position to be in, right? You're down 2-0. Now the wind's in your face. You're playing against one of the best teams in high school soccer. But they have showed a commitment to keep the ball when they get it. And they have to stick to their values and continue to believe that they can play.
That ball driven. Second ball won by Garden City. Now it's a foot race by this near side corner flag. And it will go out for a deep throw for Garden City. Again, they are dangerous with these as well. As Jacob Cooper has that ability, though it might be a little bit tough. I don't know, maybe you can get it into a gust and get it towards goal. He backs up to the track, sends it to the first post. It was flicked momentarily. I think Fisher got a piece. And the decision to go all the way back, Jack Costa plays it back to Karcher. Launches it in the air. Look at that skill level, huh? The touch by Klein, and then the turn into space. But it's Glen Cove with the ball. Good step. That was Costa to intercept that pass. Watson wanted the ball played to feet. And in many ways, too, Brian, this is a different Garden City team, or the dynamic. We'll get to that in a moment, as there's a chance here in the box. The last couple of years, you've had the same type of players and the same style of play, but you also had that special forward, right? Whether it was Miles Watson last year, and you also had Justin Woodbine, who now is playing at at RPI upstate. But before that, you had Tommy Paz, right, who broke the record for goals. Like, there isn't that guy on this team, that one guy that if you're the opposing coach, you're like, we can't allow him in to get the ball in space anywhere around the box. But in a lot of ways, that makes this team maybe even more dangerous because there's so many weapons.
Yeah, I think it's more of a testament to Coach Cutter's.
Look out, a collision. That ball sent towards the goal. Bernal was down. Didn't mean to cut you off there, Brian. Get to that point in a second. Here's Fisher looking for the brace. Rounds the keeper, and he's taken down, and we'll have a second PK for the Trojans. Tough few moments there for Bernal, as he is given the yellow card and goes down now. First, it was the collision, and then a great job by Fisher, right? Trying to take a touch around the keeper. Bernal at that point was in no man's land. Really had virtually no choice to pull down Fisher. He saved a PK back in the first half. Now the question here is, and you would know better than I, but with Bernal, right, getting the card and also looking banged up, he'll have to come out. What a difficult position this is, right? If you are Brian Gutierrez, because you come in ice cold, and oh, by the way, here comes a PK your way.
From Dylan Fisher.
Yeah. So here comes Fisher looking to make it 2 goals on the late afternoon. Fisher picks a spot, and that is saved! Unbelievable! First Bernal in the first half, then Gutierrez, ice cold, dives to his right. Wow. Outstanding stuff from both Big Red goalkeepers. That ball driven. And there were similarities, I think, with both of those PKs, right? Both were taken to a corner, both taken low, but where a goalkeeper can dive and make the save, not easily, but like you're within your motion of diving.
Yeah, Fisher's going across his body to his left, hard and on the ground. Keeper guesses right, outstretched arm. What a save.
Ball goes out for a corner. I'd love to see a Panenka by one of these guys. I don't know if they've got it in their bag. I don't know if Cutter would allow it.
Who had 2 penalty kick saves on their bingo card today, huh?
Yeah, by different goalkeepers.
Oh.
Right? Here is Klein. Driven. First touch was by a Glen Cove player, by Circus. I don't think, but who knows in this game of soccer, I don't think we're seeing a third PK. And I don't believe there's a third goalkeeper on the roster for Glen Cove, so. But hey, it's proof, right? That's why you have to watch these games on the Varsity Media Sports Network. You'll see things that you've never seen before. Here's Fisher. Oh, what a touch into the box. And there's the finish. And they're going to say no goal. I think they called a foul first. Let's show the replay, Brian. See what you saw there. As it looked like it was Damiano to put it in the back of the net, but the whistle had blown. I think for a foul in the box. We'll get to it momentarily. Oh, you can see in the picture-in-picture there. And there's the goal. Ball served across the face of goal. And it looks like it's Colin Gibbons with the finish. The junior, his first of the season. See Klein serves it across, and sometimes that's all you need, right? A little flick, little touch.
Yep, good composure on the edge of the box there. Gets end line. Simple ball across the face.
Colin Gibbons, that junior, had a couple of assists on the year. Such a hard worker. Connects passes, links up well. And Paul Cutter says when he comes in off the bench, that level of the team, it does not drop.
That's exactly what you want from your bench.
Ball played back, a dangerous one. Garden City with a pair of goals late in the first half. Damiano and Fisher scored. Gibbons just got the third. And it's all Garden City. They're looking for more. Nice save. The rebound is knocked home. As easy as you like on that finish by Costa. And it is all Garden City, 4-0.
Yeah, it's a good save, but it's the classic, ball, shot comes in from an angle, save comes to the penalty spot, next player bangs it in. It is a tough situation for Glen Cove. Garden City is just a machine with the wind at their back, and they're trying their best to withstand it, but they're really giving it to them.
A situation there too where it's like you feel for Brian Gutierrez, right? Because like you said, makes a diving save, but he kind of parried it right in front of goal, hoping for a clearance there, but instead it was Costa there to knock in his 7th of the year.
Yeah, Garden City is, once you get 1, 2, 3, you start to get even more hungry, and now with extra players in the box on every opportunity, you're likely going to be there on these rebounds.
If you're hungry, you can go to Chick-fil-A, but here they're trying to get to the goal, scoring more goals. That one took a deflection. That shot by Costa, who just got the 4th goal. As Garden City has poured it on. They've got a ridiculous goal differential on the year, Brian. 43 goals scored, only 8 against. As they're looking to slam the door on this one. Here's Fisher with space. Plays the feet. And when you look at the landscape, I know you're more concerned certainly in Class AAA, but you've got to say the championship is going to run through Garden City in the AA this year.
Yeah, I know in AA, you have Calhoun in the other AA conferences. You have Southside. They're all having great seasons.
What a ball in, and there's another finish. And it's all Garden City. The 2nd goal scored by Damiano.
They've been doing a great job of having that that run from the midfield come and that little through ball in behind. It's really tough to defend. That was a simple finish from Damiano. He's been really active since he came in for Oliver Williams, Damiano.
Yeah, as you said, they beat Sewanaka last game 8-1. He had 3 goals in that one.
He really does a great job of getting into good areas. He wants the ball. He wants to score.
Now he wants a hat trick. His second consecutive he's looking for. But to your point, yeah, there are other contenders. Southside certainly having a great season. As a handball is called against Garden City. But look, this is a Garden City team that, again, last year they went undefeated to win the state championship. This year they're 11-1. The year before they went 18-1, losing a heartbreaker in overtime to Manhasset in the class. At the time, it was the A championship. And how about these numbers? Since 2019, Garden City is 1-11, 6-5. I mean, that is just consistency and just excellence.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were talking about before about Coach Cutter and his system that he implements and the standard that this group has on a year-to-year basis. It's pretty impressive.
The Trojans looking for even more now. Ball played in their box. Took a deflection. And it will go out for a corner. Going to that far corner flag is Jack Klein.
These in-swinging balls with the wind like this is very tough to defend.
So maybe Klein, if he's ambitious, will go for the Olympico. He does look for it. And it's parried away. That was on target. And that one, I think that took a deflection as well.
Yeah, Gutierrez really does well on that corner. Those are very tough to deal with, those in-swingers.
And let's see if they do it again here at Garden City. As it's Klein once more. Again, up 5-0, final 20 minutes. I say, why not have a go again? That's a little bit of jockeying for position inside the 6. So the referee just wants to make sure everybody keeps it clean. Klein. Got a little bit too much on that one. Got it up into the jet stream. And it goes out. But Garden City, 13 county titles to their name. They won their 4th Long Island Championship last year. And that one state title, that was finally won last year.
Epic season they had.
And sometimes you see a let-off, right? After a year like that, you think we won it all, we're the man, but not for this group, man. They are as hungry as if they lost in that final. Which I think, again, right, speaks volumes about the culture that Garden City soccer is.
Yeah, they're on an unbelievable run these last number of years.
Ball played to feet. There's 1950 on the clock. I don't know if we're getting to that full 1950.
But again, Glen Cove, they get it. They still want to play. They want to play. They want the ball. They want to move the ball.
And full credit again goes to Brian Smith and his program as well, where, you know, essentially the thing, you want to get them, I think, early in a season because they're just going to get so much better by the end of the season, and especially in the postseason. They just have this ability, I think, to kind of turn it on and get everything right for the playoffs, and when they get to the postseason, they are always a threat.
Yeah, they're not playing scared at all. They're not afraid of Garden City at all.
And that's what Smith said, too. He's like, look, you know, we do want to match their physicality. We're not going to go shoulder for shoulder. We're clearly not as big of a team. But he said our guys also, win or lose, we will not be scared of the moment. We will not be scared of the opposition. Glen Cove down the stretch. They'll take on Sewanaka, and they'll end their season a non-leaguer against Cold Spring Harbor. But Smith said of the first matchup, look, Garden City, much bigger, much taller, more mass. They move into the open zones really well. Scored a great header off a corner, and then another one, which was an own goal. And then he said his team played into the game. And then they got two before the half and, you know, set up some good triangles with overlapping runs. But then there was a miscommunication defensively, and then Garden City pounced, and then they scored again, as we saw here today. You know, once they score one, it seems like they score them in bunches. You know, so like, how do you beat a team like Garden City? It's not easy. Shoreham, the only team to do so, and they did so via a PK. So maybe the answer is, you know, keeping your shape defensively, maybe get them frustrated, try to hit them on the counter.
Save a couple penalties.
Save a couple penalties by all your goalies. And maybe pray a little bit. I'm not sure. Some pushing, some shoving in the midfield.
All right.
No harm, although there was a foul. But I think for most teams this year, Brian, right, and you're seeing it's a small sample size, albeit for you, but like you're seeing here 80 minutes of Garden City, I think if you're the opposition here, you've got to you're gonna concede possession, right? But it's about stepping up then in your defensive third and making sure that you don't give them those through balls or those set piece opportunities.
Yeah, it's very difficult to stay, you know, super organized and play a defensive game for 80 minutes. You know, you do have to get good bounces. You do have to get lucky. You do have to make big saves, and we saw that early in the game. But ultimately, when that first goal goes in, it's tough to rebound against a team like this. I actually thought Glen Cove responded fairly well. You know, again, they stuck to their game plan. They continued to move the ball when they got it. They communicate pretty well on defense. I like what I'm seeing from the back line, but ultimately Garden City was hungry.
Yeah. I mean, look, Glen Cove, like every other team almost that Garden City has played, is overmatched in this one. That's just who Garden City is. They look to keep the ball. The Trojans will here. Ball sent in the box.
I'm sure there's a number of players out here getting opportunities. You know, they're going to continue to compete.
And that's part of the Glen Cove culture, right? Where it is such a soccer-rich community. You go to their, when they're home in the postseason or big games there, they have a tremendous fan base and it's an electric atmosphere. Little deflection. Ball clipped in far post, offside for Garden City. Of course, you've stepped in here to be analyst, and think you're going to leave here and you're going to start prepping for tomorrow if you haven't already on the road here. Big game for you guys right at Oceanside tomorrow.
Yep, Oceanside at Uniondale. Top 2-3 matchup. It'll really answer a lot of questions about what the top of the table is going to look like after tomorrow.
And that's in the AAA, where there is not a lot of separation, right, among those upper echelon teams. You mentioned off air, right? Like any of 4 teams can claim that top spot.
Yeah, we've seen it year after year. I mean, Glen Cove is a testament to it, but once you get in, it's the team that's, the team that's buzzing, the team that's, that's playing the best at that time. And we've seen, 8 seeds, 13 seeds make runs in the playoffs. So you got to finish strong.
We saw that as well from Uniondale last year, right? A deep run as well, getting to the Final Four, a team that had to win like their last 3 regular season games just to get into the playoffs. And when they did, they had that confidence and made a great run to Farmingdale.
Yeah, and Glen Cove can't look too much into this, They know that their culture has been set over the last number of years, and they've had a lot of success in the playoffs, and they can't lose a late season game like this and think it's the end of the world. You gotta move on and continue to preach what you guys do best, and they'll be fine.
Battle in the midfield, final 12 minutes remaining in this one, all Garden City. And also credit to the Trojans, right? You miss an early PK, and a lot of times, like, these are high school kids, right? I mean, the shoulders can slump. You can think, like, what is going on? We have all the possession. We can't score goals. But you used the word before, and it's a word that Paul Cutter, the Garden City coach, used before, hunger, right? And that desire. And they pushed forward. They didn't let that get them down. And then they got their just rewards for it.
Yeah, if you want to be a player that's going to step up and take a penalty kick, you have to live with the results. You got to learn to live with those results. All great players going to miss penalty kicks. Christian Pulisic missed a penalty kick in the AC Milan-Juventus game the other day. So, these kids are going to need that experience as they move into the playoffs. It's important.
And you would think the way that, if you just look at the record, you're like, well, Garden City hasn't really faced adversity, right? 11-1, but that's what you're talking about. The adversity comes even within a game, and then how do you respond to that? And obviously, these guys, a lot of them were on last year's state championship team. If they weren't, they were JV players who watched and saw what the varsity team did. So good overlap on this right side. A little bit of a heavy touch, and the ball goes out. That was Dylan Volpe. Dylan Volpe, the senior, a little bit of a utility guy. Could play fullback, either fullback spot in the midfield, could play in the wide areas. Brings a little bit of creativity to his game. And I like what Cutter does here too, right? He's got 2 senior center backs with Fargione and Coster, and guys who have held that position, that starting spot, for the last 2 years in all these big games, but he's made sure to get Colby Wenk, the sophomore, to get him experience and get him to play these games, because now he's going to be the next guy up to once these 2 guys graduate.
Yeah, the leadership year in and year out is super important in order to maintain the success that Garden City has. And, the captains this year are continuing to bring on the leadership responsibilities as they've seen their captains do when they were younger. So
well, credit to our camera guys, because if you're watching, it looks a lot brighter than it is from our vantage point. That is for sure. If this wasn't a stadium, you're almost like, can we just get the cars to line up and get the headlights? And That was Volpe there, 12 on the ball for Garden City. As Garden City looking to improve to 12-1 on the season. And a perfect 10-0 in Nassau AA2. Battle for the ball, a little pull from behind. So Garden City will get a free kick. Oh, sorry, went the other way, yep.
You know, being down 5-0 is not an easy position to be in, but there is always that mentality of let's get one. You know, let's get one. Why not? Let's get one. So let's see if we can get one here in the last 7 minutes, or if, you know. But on the other side, it's also 0 is what we want.
You want the clean sheet, yeah. Brian, we'll pull up the AA2 standings again on your left, and you see what a great season Mepham is having as well, right? 7-1-1. They will play Garden City again. That's their lone loss to this point. But then you see, right, just a mix of teams from Glen Cove down to Great Neck North that have all either beat or tied each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of ties there. So that really goes to show you that these last 3 games, it's anyone's opportunity to get a spot there.
And Mepham, you saw their record 7-1-1. They only, but I mean, you could look what we're seeing from Garden City, right? But they only lost to Garden City 3-1 at home in the first meeting. So I'm sure they bring some confidence out of that one. Glen Cove fell to Mepham 2-1.
Yeah,
actually fell to him 2-1 twice.
Yeah, it's very easy to go into the Garden City game, you know, your Garden City game, and say, oh, we got to play Garden City. But at the same time, you should go in there with the opportunity of wanting to beat them. And that's always a tough spot to be in, having that target of wanting to get beat because you set this standard. And let's see if Mepham can get a result.
Ball dispossessed. That shot on the turf. An easy save there. I will be impressed if they get the entire 5:45 that's left in this one.
I was going to say, you made a good point. On TV, it looks bright, but we're watching, and it's pretty dark out there. I bet you if it was a 0-0, 1-0 game, they would start to, start to make it an issue.
There's some traffic making the way from Glen Cove to Garden City. We're later in the, we're in the month of October now. Sun sets earlier. Foul call there in midfield. One thing for sure, when you think of Glen Cove, and the word from Brian Smith too, is he said the incoming class they have of freshmen is incredibly strong. We saw the 3 freshmen here this afternoon as well, who see a lot of minutes, right? Isaac Hernandez plays forward, right wing. He was brought up after a few games on JV. His first varsity goal, how about it, against Garden City in the first matchup. Then you got Luigi Stanko. He plays in the middle of the park. Also a freshman, Darwin Garcia, slick playmaker, plays the 8-10, can play right wing. Then you have that incoming class that he's touted as well. So the future a lot brighter for Glen Cove than the field we're seeing right now, which is enveloped in darkness.
Yeah, I think we've talked about Garden City's standard. And, you know, Glen Cove has set their own standard of making it as deep into the playoffs as they had the last 4 years. So the fact that they see a bright future in these young kids, that makes it even more exciting.
So these current freshmen get their opportunity to get their feet wet, but also, you know, the future is now as well, right? Because there's players who have been part of this team for the last few years, and they're used to postseason deep runs. And, you know, we told you about the history of excellence for Garden City. Glen Cove, no strangers to that either. 4 county titles to their name. That low shot is wide. Their most recent county title, that was in 2022. They beat Garden City. That was one of those 4 finals or 4 matchups we showed you in the Open. That was 2-0. In 2016, they beat Southside 1-0. And then you have to go back to 1966, 1967. They won back-to-back county titles. Ball in the midfield. That'll be a free kick for Garden City. Some 45 yards from goal. Oh, I said we would not see a third PK. And I think good decision by the officials there. Ball served far post, good layoff, and that shot clipped over the bar. Inside the final 2 minutes, as it is all Garden City at this point. I'm not going to lie. Right now, I'm just working strictly off the monitor. I cannot see anybody out there. Certainly hope it's for the goalkeepers that can, who are out there, who can see a little bit better than we can from the booth. You got to feel for Brian Gutierrez, though, right? Like, senior goalkeeper, splits time, but he comes in. His first action is facing a PK and saves it as well as we're inside the final 25 seconds.
Yeah, it was impressive, very impressive. But yeah, Dylan, wanted to say thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Varsity Media, you guys do an unbelievable job. I look forward to watching all these games and listening to all the commentary. And I know the players and the coaches really appreciate it as well. So,
well, here's your goal the rest of the season. You don't want to be on this broadcast because you want to be on the sideline, because the longer you're on the sideline, the longer the Sailors are playing.
That's right.
Sailing to another victory here. It is Garden City who beats Glen Cove 5-0. They improve to 12-1 overall, 10-0 in the league. Glen Cove falls to 4-5 overall, 3-4 in league play. Well, it starts off with a PK save. How about it? David Bernal. A nice one there, but you knew Garden City, they were knocking on the door. And then Damiano finishes. And how about Fisher? Turn, fire, goal. 2-0 to break for Garden City. Another PK, a different goalie, same result. Terrific save there by Brian Gutierrez. But then the goals they just kept on coming for Garden City as the sun sets on another Garden City win. For our entire Varsity Media crew, our executive producer, Ben Turchin, our technical director, Chris Sweeney, for Tony DeMasso, Ron Pierre, bringing all those great moving images, my broadcast partner, Brian Sergi, Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us from Garden City. We look forward to seeing you next time right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.